So think of a pension as a long-term savings plan. It comes with some strong tax breaks to help you build up a pot of money so that one day when you don't want to work anymore, you've got something built up for you to live off. If you actually look at the features of a pension, it is difficult to think of a better way of sort of creating a product that allows you to build up money for the longer term. You get full tax relief on the way in. It grows pretty much free of all tax. If you pass away, it can go on to your family free of all tax. There are very few other contracts out there which give you the same tax efficiencies. So we start off with looking at the tax relief, when you put money into a pension, how it can then grow, and what happens at the other end. So to start off looking through the life of a pension scheme, we've put together a slide which explains this in a bit more detail. So the starting point is putting money into a pension scheme. What we can see here is that you can make both personal contributions and employer contributions. When you place money into a pension, you obtain full tax relief at your marginal rate. So let's say someone is a basic rate taxpayer, which means if they get paid £100, they'll actually end up seeing £80 in their back pocket because 20% tax has been taken off. When you put that money into a pension, that £80 gets boosted back up to £100 again. So the tax breaks on these things are pretty good, and it's difficult to find anything like this anymore. There's historically been a number of ways of getting tax breaks, but they're being largely closed down by HMRC. And a pension is one of the few places that still gives you some confidence that you are getting tax relief that isn't going to be taken back off you later at a later stage. The story gets better if you are, say, a 40% taxpayer, 45% or even a 60% taxpayer, you get full tax relief. So if someone is a 40% taxpayer, in theory they put £60 in and it turns it into £100. Now with personal contributions, one thing to make sure you're aware of is that you'll get the basic rate tax relief, so you'll get 20% at source, and that's obtained by the pension company, and they get that on your behalf. If you're a higher rate taxpayer or additional rate taxpayer, you've got to claim back that additional tax yourself. And we've come across many circumstances where maybe someone has put £10,000, for example, into a pension through the course of the year, and they're actually owed £2,000 in tax because they've not claimed it and they didn't realise. So that money goes in, gets the tax relief. Employer contributions see no tax taken off, so there's no tax relief needed to be obtained. There is no national insurance on the contribution, and where an employer contribution is made, it's also fully offsettable against corporation tax. You are limited up to 100% of your earnings with a cap of £40,000 per year, and if someone has earnings in excess of £110,000, there is the potential for that annual allowance of £40,000 to be reduced down by taper. And we cover that off in a separate video which goes into that in much more detail. So we can see here the tax relief going in for personal contributions, employer contributions. The money then goes into the pension and it's invested in some way. This could be a combination of stocks and shares, commercial property, fixed interest, and any growth within those assets within a pension are free of all capital gains tax. And also if those assets generate some form of income, in the main that's also tax-free. You can draw a pension currently from age 55 onwards. Now depending on your date of birth, that'll be going up to 56, 57, 58. There is a 10-year tether between when you can touch your personal pension and when you're going to receive the state pension. So if you were to go onto the Department for Work and Pensions website, you'll see exactly what age you'll get your state pension, and if, for example, that's 67, you'll be able to get your private pension at 57. And you can take 25% of the fund as a tax-free lump sum, and the residual 75% is used to generate an income. And that income can be generated in one of two ways. Traditionally, an annuity would be purchased, and this sees your pension fund that you've built up being used to buy a guaranteed income. Annuities have been out of favour in more recent years because annuity rates have dropped. And that's not necessarily the fault of the annuity companies. Base rate on bank accounts is exceptionally low. People are living much longer, and investment returns have also been a little lower. So therefore annuity rates have dropped down. An alternative which has become increasingly popular is income drawdown, and this is where your plan stays invested and you're drawing a fund down. Think of it as an investment plan. Your money will perhaps move around with the stock markets and you are drawing funds down as and when you need them. There are risks for both routes, and we once again have another video which goes into more detail as to how you can draw funds down at retirement. Additionally, there are key considerations as to what would happen if you were to pass away when money's into a pension, and that is also covered off in a separate video.